Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net.
President Trump has been busy. Lots of back and forth about the tariffs. Now we got 30-day stays, and I'm sure by the time you're listening to the show, something else has happened. I mean, things are changing hour by hour, day by day. We're doing our best to stay on top of it. But I really think, Steve, it really comes down to the bottom line of, he told us what he was going to do during his campaign, and he is legitimately doing it. The tariffs, the taxes, etc.
You got to give the guy credit, whether you like him, don't like him, it's irrelevant. The guy said he's going to do it, and he's doing it. We're just not used to that. And I don't think the other countries are used to that. And, but hey, he's doing what he's doing, and he's obviously very concerned about, the border. I think most people would be, right? Just protecting our borders. I don't think that's any secret out there. But again, for me, it's all about, and he obviously wrote a book called The Art of the Deal, right? It's about operating from a position of strength. And that's really all it is. And yes, it is affecting the heck out of the stock market because, you say you're going to have a big tariff and then a country responds. Of course they are. Okay, that's going to happen, and the stock market's like, okay, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? I mean, the other day futures were down 600 and ended up coming back almost even by the end of the day. But you talk about a roller coaster of a day, my goodness. But that's what happens when there are swings like this, and we, meaning the consumer, have to be level-headed and not get caught up and all this crazy stuff when it comes to our finances. And I've preached this for years, that you need to remain level-headed and unemotional when it comes to your money. And you have to say, all right, look, I'm close to retirement, or maybe I just retired. And I'll tell you, if you just retired, you're going to be jittery, and I don't blame you one bit.
Sure,
you've got a pile of money that's been bouncing up and down like a Super Bowl, right? And you're like, oh, my gosh, what is going on here? Can I stay retired? Should I go back to work? Did I make the right decision? So that certainly enters into your head. But that's where I come into play with over 35 years of experience, Jess, to say to people, look, let's just take a deep breath. Let's sit down, see what you got, what's going on, and remember that we're trying to plan for, at least 20 years here, okay? And you got to have that in your brain, all right? And here's the thing. If all your money is still where it was when you were working, or it's all in the market, let's say, that is, I know it's easy to do because the 401k is certainly the most convenient way to save for retirement. I mean, let's face it, what you don't see, you don't miss. However, you need to shift your way of thinking, right? The day you retire is the day you stop earning a paycheck, like physically getting up, going somewhere and getting a paycheck, and your money is now becoming that paycheck. And you need to treat it like that. You need to say, okay, this isn't just my pile of money anymore. This is my long-term income. And you have to start getting the word income into your retirement planning, okay, and not just pile. And once we can make that connection and you can understand how that works, like, Social Security. Social Security is not a pile of money, Jess. It's an income check.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
And if you are fortunate enough to have a pension, it's not a pile of money. It's an income check. Although a pension could be, some people who have pensions do have the option to roll over a pension, okay, which is a whole nother convo. But, the bottom line is you got to look at the word income. And that's what I've been doing for over 30 years, is to help people focus on how much income do I need and how long is it going to last. That's the focus. So sit with me, think about that, okay? Bring your statements. This is what usually people do in the meetings, and just we're going to have a talk. That's all. We're going to say, where are you at? How's your money held? What are the what are the risks involved? Have you been nervous lately about what's going on? Is it affecting how you sleep at night? And stuff, because it does. Some people are just, really freaked out about it.
Now, here's the deal. The number one fear when it comes to planning for retirement is running out of money. And then the other side of the coin is there's 3 parts to the recipe of retirement, which is income, income, and income. And without crunching the numbers here, it is hard to know how much you'll need each month in retirement. And Caleb Silver is with Investopedia and says that it's actually a huge mistake that people make if they don't get financial help.
But if you haven't done the math on what it costs to be the you want to be once you get into retirement, you could be very sorely mistaken on how much you're going to need. And what you also don't want to do is go in thinking you have enough, but you really haven't done the appropriate planning to know if that's true or not. So it's those expectations that you think it's going to be all right, but really not knowing the numbers.
So, yeah, we talk about that a lot, right? Planning for retirement, it's not a guessing game. It's not a hope-so game. We want it to be a no-so situation. So, Steve, when you sit down with individuals, how do you figure out how much they're going to need to be comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Because you never really retired before. So you're exploring the unknown a little bit. But most people have an idea of what their basic needs are. And those are the ones that I'm concerned about, is to make sure that the basic needs of housing and food and, all that stuff are covered on a guaranteed basis, so that, if the world goes to hell in a handbasket and, the market pulls a 2008 again, you're not out in the street, You've got your basics covered. And that, to me, is the most important thing because, the way I look at it, when people are working, they have a set amount of income that they're used to taking home with and working with, Jess. And, whatever they don't need at that point, they contribute to the 401k, right? That's called disposable income, or however you want to put it. But that's what they use to build their future. Well, now the future is here. And I love the line he says, to be the you can be. And that's kind of a cool line because your retirement plan is you. It's very personal. Like, it's so different from your neighbor or whoever else, because what you want to do in retirement, how you want to live your life, is going to determine the income and the cash flow that you need. And a lot of it boils down to not just financial need, but your health. So you got to take care of your health first, too, and then worry about the finances and the money. And so it's all kind of one big puzzle that I enjoy helping people put together. And the book I wrote, Tee Up Your Retirement, is exactly that. It's actually peeling the pieces of the puzzle off and talking about them in chapters and then putting it all back together towards the end of the book.
Steve, something that we talk about all the time is, yes, your experience, right? You've been doing this for over 30 years. Yep. You're known as Cape Cod's retirement income specialist for a reason. And I think it really does obviously sing your praises. You get lots of referrals and you work with a lot of families, a lot of generational wealth going through there. I know a lot of folks right now are anxious with, again, lots of changes happening in our economy and our country. So some are still kind of pressing that pause button going, well, let me see where the other shoe falls before I start making some moves here. Where do you stand on that? Is it let's wait and see, or it's let's get a plan together now?
Well, wait and see can come in handy when it comes to things like Social Security, decisions that you have to make that are irrevocable. But when it comes to looking at your money and figuring out a plan, there's no better time than now to at least, see what's available and what's out there and what can be done and can be accomplished. It doesn't mean you have to act on it right away, but it just means that you're better informed and you can make a more intelligent decision for you and if you're married, your spouse. That's the thing that we're trying to do. We're all, we're all in the same boat, right? We're all looking to work and do our thing and then someday,
hopefully retire.
Or not work or I don't know, do something different, right? People call it retirement. Some people calling it a shift, and maybe they're going to take a hobby and turn it into something that might produce a little bit of income now in retirement because they have a little more time to do it. Or they might just say, look, I've been doing this grind for, 35, 40 years, and I want to continue to be active, but I just don't want to do the grind part. I want to do something chill, I mean, hey, maybe go work at Home Depot. I could stay there for hours. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, just put me in the tool aisle, and me and tool time would be like, we'll have a good time. But seriously, I mean, some people are into that, and me personally, I wouldn't mind being a ranger on a golf course at some point in my life.
I think you have to find that plan and that purpose moving past that 9 to 5 and that career you've had. And, a lot of folks, they come to that and they go, I never want to work again. I want to spend all my money and travel, do these things. Some folks go, I can't do this. I got to volunteer, or I need a part-time job. And that's the beauty of this conversation with Steve, is finding out your purpose and your what you want to do moving into retirement. And you'll have that conversation when you sit down with Steve. Yes, of course, it's about the important things, the income planning, the tax planning, all the healthcare planning, you name it. But it's also, all right, guys, we got the hard work out of the way. Now let's have some fun. What do you want to do?
Yeah, it's exactly right. And a lot of my clients do volunteer work now that they have a little more time. Actually, including my wife, who just got elected on this board in Plymouth, and she's very excited about it. And it's not a lot of her time, but she's always wanted to do something local to help local people, and now she's doing that. And she's still here at the office with me, thank God. But no, I mean, I see that a lot. And you got to have a purpose in life. And if you don't have that purpose, then you kind of sitting there waking up going, all right, what am I doing? What's going on? What's happening here? And so, if this sounds like something, or if I sound like the type of person that you'd like to talk to about your situation, okay? And my approach is very different. It's kind of very laid back, and it involves just sitting and talking. The first part is all about you and finding out what are you trying to do? Where are you at this point? And when do you see yourself realistically saying, okay, I can retire? And then let me help you. Let me crunch some numbers. Let me look at some things and say, hey, you're on track, or maybe you're a little off track, and this can get you back on track.
Get more details on the website, fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.